Hi everyone. Welcome back to more history content videos with me once again. Today we're going to be talking to you guys about the 39 presidents who have basically died, literally. So in my last video when we did about presidents, we did who was the shortest president and who was the tallest president. This time we are doing the 39 US presidents who had died recently. There have been 45 presidents, though only 39 of them had sadly died and they're no longer with us. I just wanted to say this I found on the web. No, I just did my own research about how the presidents die, and we have to also know about the cause of death of them. So the following we have the list in order of the deaths. So it goes from George Washington, who was the first president, to the 41st president, George Bush, who was George W. Bush's father. The following is a list of presidents of the United States by date of death, plus additional lists of presidential death related statistics. Of the 45 people who have served as President of the United States since the office came into existence in 1789, 39 have died. 8 of them while in office. The oldest president at the time of death was George H.W.Bush, who died at the age of 94 years and 171 days. John F. Kennedy was assassinated at the age of 46 years, 177 days, was the youngest to have died in office. The youngest to have died by natural causes was James K. Polk, who died of cholera at the age of 53 years and 225 days. Now, already, it goes from George Washington to George H.W. Bush. I like to just call him George Bush because that's the only thing we know. And then the only presidents that are not on the list is Jimmy Carter, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Those presidents are currently still alive. Only 6 of them are still alive. But there are 45, so there's technically only... Well, Jimmy Carter is 1, Bill Clinton's 2, George W. Bush is 3. No, 6. There have been 6 presidents who are currently still alive, which we'll get to that later on in this video. So we have to go in the order from number 1 to number 39. So number 1 is George Washington. George Washington became the first president of the United States. He was born on February 22nd, 1732. He was the first president to be born as a British subject before the nation was even founded. And he was born under the reign of King George II of Great Britain. He lost his father when he was only 11, and he lost his mother when he was 57. He became president when he was 57. He was in office from 1790. He was in office on April 30th, 1789, until March 4th, 1797. He had a post-presidency of 2 years. Sadly, he died on December 14th, 1799, at the age of 67. His cause of death was acute epiglottis, which is bloodletting. And he was buried in Mount Vernon in Virginia, which is his own birthplace. Number 2, Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson became the 3rd president of the United States after John Adams. He was born on April 13th, 1743. He was the 3rd president to be born as a British subject. He became president. He lost his mother when he was 32, and he lost his father when he was only 14. Sadly, he became president at the age of 57. He was in office from March 4th, 1801 till March 4th, 1809. He sadly died. He had a post-presidency of 17 years. Sadly, he died on July 4th, 1826, at the age of 83. His cause of death was toxemia. He had toxemia, which is from a kidney infection, uremia from kidney damage, and pneumonia. So he had kidney failure and pneumonia. His resting place is Charlottesville in Virginia. Sorry if I pronounced that name wrong. Number 3, John Adams. John Adams became the second president of the United States. He also became the first vice president to George Washington. He was born on October 30th, 1735. He was the second president to be born as a British subject. He became president at the age of 61. He was in office from March 4th, 1797 until March 4th, 1801. He had a post-presidency of 25 years, dying on July 4th, 1826 at the age of 90. His cause of death was heart failure. He was buried in Quincy in Massachusetts. He was also born in Massachusetts, by the way. Number 4, James Monroe. James Monroe became the 5th president of the United States after James Madison. He was born on April 28th, 1758. He was the 5th president to be born as a British subject and the last president to be born under the reigning king of George II. He became president at the age of 58. He was in office from March 4th, 1817 until March 4th, 1825. He had a post-presidency of 6 years. He died on July 4th, 1831 at the age of 73. His cause of death was tuberculosis and heart failure. He was buried in New York City in New York. And he was not born in New York. He was born in Virginia because that was the same place he was born, but he died in New York though. Number 5, James Madison. James Madison became the 4th president of the United States after Thomas Jefferson. He was born on March 16th, 1751. He became the 4th president to be born as a British subject. He became president at the age of 57. He was in office from March 4th, 1809 until March 4th, 1817. He had a presidency of 19 years. He died on June 28th, 1836, aged 85. His cause of death was heart failure. He was buried in Orange in Virginia. Number 6, William Henry Harrison. William Henry Harrison became the 9th president of the United States after Martin Van Buren, and plus, quote, he was the first president to actually die in office. He was born on February 9th, 1773. He was the last president to be born as a British subject. He was born 3 years before the nation was found. He became president at the age of 68. He was in office from March 4th, 1841 until April 4th, 1841. He only was in office for 31 days. He died on April 4th, 1841 at the age of 68. He had no post-presidencies. His cause of death was pneumonia and electric fever. He was buried in Washington. His place is in Washington, D.C. Though I think that's a bit weird because the only president to actually be buried in Washington, D.C. was actually Woodrow Wilson, because he was the only president to be buried in Washington, D.C. Number 7, Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson became the 7th president of the United States after John Quincy Adams. He was born on March 15th, 1767. He became the 7th president to be born as a British subject. He became president at the age of 61. He was in office from March 4th, 1829 until March 4th, 1837. He had a post-presidency of 8 years. He died on June 8th, 1845 at the age of 78. His cause of death was carotid dropsy and heart failure. His place is in Nashville Valley in, I don't know some of these states in America. I only know like a few, and that is his buried place. Nash Valley Tenseris. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Number 8, John Quincy Adams. John Quincy Adams became the 6th president of the United States after James Monroe. He was born on July 11th, 1767. He became the 6th president of the United States to be born as a British subject. He became president when he was 57. He was in office from March 4th, 1829 until March 4th, 1837. He had a post-presidency of 19 years, dying on February 23rd, 1848, at the age of 80. He suffered a stroke. The death place was Washington, D.C. D.C., what the hell? I'm not going to even go through all the other places because it's weird. Number 9, James K. Polk. James K. Polk became the 11th president of the United States after John Tyler. He was born on November 2nd, 1795, during the presidency of George Washington. He became president at the age of 49. He was in office from on March 4th, 1845 until March 4th, 1849. He died 3 months after he left office. He died on March 5th. He had a post-presidency of just only 3 months. He died on June 15th, 1849 at the age of 53. He died of cholera. His cause of death was cholera. Number 10, Zachary Taylor. Zachary Taylor became the 12th president of the United States after James K. Polk. He was born on November 24th, 1784. He was the second person to be born as a U.S. citizen, but he was the last person to be born under a reign of a king. He became president at the age of 64. He was president from March 4th, 1849 until July 9th, 1850. He had no post-presidencies as he was the second president to die in office, as he died on July 9th, 1850 at the age of 65. His cause of death was gastroenteritis, or you could say the stomach flu. It's where he drank too much iced milk, iced water, and iced cherries, which absolutely killed him. Number 11, John Tyler. John Tyler became the 10th president of the United States. He was also a vice president to Zachary Taylor. No, not Zachary Taylor. William Henry Harrison. Oh, and I also didn't mention Thomas Jefferson was the second vice president to John Adams. John Tyler became the 4th vice president to William Henry Harrison. He was born on March 29th, 1790, also during the presidency of George Washington. He was the first president to be born under his presidency. He became president at the age of 51. He was in office from March 4th, 1849, April 4th, 1841 until March 4th, 1845. He had a post-presidency of 17 years. He died on January 18th, 1862 at the age of 71. His cause of death was a stroke. Number 12, Martin Van Buren. Martin Van Buren became the 8th president of the United States. He also became the 3rd vice president of Andrew Jackson. He was born on December 5th, 1782. He was the first president to be born as a U.S. citizen. He became president at the age, which one are we on? This one. Yeah. He became president at the age of 54. He was in office from March 4th, 1837 until March 4th, 1841. He had a post-presidency of 21 years as he died on July 24th, 1862 at the age of 79. His cause of death was asthma and heart failure. His heart failure caused him to have a really bad asthma attack. Number 13, Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln became the 16th president of the United States after James Buchanan. He was born on February 12, 1809, though he was born under the presidency of Thomas Jefferson. He became president at the age of 52. He was in office from March 4th, 1861 until April 15th, 1865. He was the third U.S. president to die in office, but he was also the first president to be assassinated while in office, as he had also got no post-presidencies, as he was assassinated on April 15th, 1865 at the age of 56. His cause of death was gunshot wound, or you could say assassination. 4 presidents were only assassinated. Number 14, James Buchanan. James Buchanan became the 15th president of the United States after Franklin Pierce. He was born on April 23rd, 1791, also during the presidency of George Washington. He became president at the age of 65. He was in office from March 4th, 1857 until March 4th, 1861. He had a post-presidency of 7 years, dying on June 1st, 1868, at the age of 77. His cause of death was respiratory failure and rheumatic gout. He also had bad gout as well. Number 15, Franklin Pierce. Franklin Pierce became the 14th president of the United States after Millard Fillmore. He was born on November 23rd, 1804, under the presidency of Thomas Jefferson. He was the first president to be born under his presidency. He became president at the age of 48. He was in office from March 4th, 1853 until March 4th, 1857. He had a post-presidency of 12 years. He died on October 8th, 1869 at the age of 64. His cause of death was inflammation of the stomach, which is the cirrhosis of the liver. He was actually an alcoholic, which he was addicted to alcohol. It caused him to have a really bad liver problem. Cirrhosis of the liver is like it's like a really bad disease to the liver. Number 16, Millard Fillmore. Millard Fillmore became the 13th president of the United States, plus the 5th vice president to Zachary Taylor. He was born on January 7th, 1800, under the presidency of John Adams. Millard Fillmore was the last president to be born in the 18th century, and George Washington was the first president to be born in the 18th century. He became president at the age of 50. He was in office from July 9th, 1850, until March 4th, 1853. He had a post-presidency of 21 years, dying on March 8th, 1874, at the age of 74. His cause of death was a stroke. Number 17, Andrew Johnson. Andrew Johnson became the 17th president of the United States and a 6th vice president to Abraham Lincoln. He was born on December 29th, 1808, under the presidency of Thomas Jefferson. He became president at the age of 56. He was in office from April 15th, 1865 until March 4th, 1869, so the same year as Franklin Pierce died. He had a post-presidency of 6 years. He died on July 31st, 1875 at the age of 66. His cause of death was a stroke. Number 18, James A. Garfield. James A. Garfield became the 20th president of the United States after Rutherford B. Hayes. He was born on November 19th, 1831. He became president at the age of 49. He was in office from March 4th, 1881 until September 19th, 1881. Sadly, he was assassinated as he also had no post-presidencies. He was the second president to be assassinated while in office, but the 4th president to die in office. He was assassinated on September 19th, 1881 at the age of 49. His cause of death was a septic shock resulting from medical care of gunshot wound. He had a shock as well. Number 19, Ulysses S. Grant. Ulysses S. Grant became the 18th president of the United States after Andrew Johnson. He was born on April 27th, 1822, under the presidency of James Monroe, plus Rutherford B. Hayes was also born in 1822. He became president at the age of 46. He was in office from March 4th, 1869 until March 4th, 1877. He had a post-presidency of 8 years. He died on July 23rd, 1885 at the age of 63. His cause of death was throat cancer. Number 20, Chester A. Arthur. Chester A. Arthur became the 21st president of the United States, plus a vice president to James A. Garfield. He was born on October 5th, 1829, under the presidency of Andrew Jackson, I think. Some people think he was born under, Andrew Jackson. He became president at the age of 51. He was in office from September 19th, 1881 until March 4th, 1885. He only had a post-presidency of 1 year. He died on November 18th, 1886 at the age of 57. His cause of death was a stroke. Number 21, Rutherford B. Hayes. Rutherford B. Hayes became the 19th President of the United States after Ulysses S. Grant. He was born on October 4th, 1822. He became president at the age of 54. He was in office from March 4th, 1877 until March 4th, 1881. He did have a post-presidency of 12 years. He died on January 17th, 1893 at the age of 70. His cause of death was a heart attack. Number 22, Benjamin Harrison. Benjamin Harrison became the 23rd President of the United States after Grover Cleveland's first term. He was born on August 20th, 1833. He became president at the age of 55. He was in office from March 4th, 1889 until March 4th, 1893. He had a post-presidency of 8 years. He died on March 13th, 1901, at the age of 67. His cause of death was pneumonia. Number 23, William McKinley. William McKinley became the 25th President of the United States after Grover Cleveland's second term. He was born on January 29th, 1843. He became president at the age of 54. He was in office on March 4th, 1897 until September 14th, 1901. Sadly, William McKinley had also got no post-presidencies. As you see, he was the third president to be assassinated while in office, but the fifth president to die in office. He was assassinated on September 14th, 1901 at the age of 58. His cause of death was gangrene with a gunshot wound. He also gained gangrene from the wound as well, where he was shot. Okay, let's go back down. Number 24, Grover Cleveland. Grover Cleveland became the 22nd and 24th presidents of the United States. He was president of Chester A. Arthur, and the second time he was president after Benjamin Harrison. He was born on March 18th, 1837. For his first term, he became president when he was 22nd. He was 47. He was in office from March 4th, 1885 until March 4th, 1889, and with the 24th, for his second term, he was 55. He was in office from March 4th, 1893 until March 4th, 1897. He had a post-presidency of 11 years. He died on June 24th, 1908 at the age of 71. His cause of death was coronary sclerosis, paralysis, or intestinal obstruction. Well, I wouldn't say that, but I thought he died of a heart attack, though. Number 25, Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt became the 26th President of the United States, plus a Vice President to William McKinley. He was born on October 27th, 1858. He became president at the age of only 42. He was in office from September 14th, 1901 until March 4th, 1909. He had a post-presidency of 10 years. He died on January 6th, 1919 at the age of 60. His cause of death was a coronary obstruction by a blood clot. Probably the same, with Grover Cleveland's cause of death, I would say he died of a heart attack, though it's not really true if he did die of a heart attack or paralysis. Number 26, Warren G. Harding. Warren G. Harding became the 29th President of the United States after Woodrow Wilson's 2 terms. He was born on November 2nd, 1865. He was born on the same day as James K. Polk has, and also, I don't want to say it. He became president at the age of 55. He was in office from March 4th, 1921 until August 2nd, 1923. He had no post-presidencies as he was the 6th president to die in office. He died on August 2nd, 1923 at the age of 57. His cause of death was a heart attack. Number 27, Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson became the 20th President of the United States after William Howard Taft. He was born on December 28, 1856, under the presidency of Franklin Pierce, the only one to be born under him. He became president at the age of 56. He was in office from March 4th, 1913 until March 4th, 1921. He had a post-presidency of 3 years. He died on February 3rd, 1924 at the age of 67. His cause of death was a stroke. He got paralyzed by his second stroke, though. Number 28, William Howard Taft. William Howard Taft became the 27th President of the United States after Theodore Roosevelt. He was born on September 15th, 1857. He was the only president to be born in September. He became president at the age of 51. He was in office from March 4th, 1909 until March 4th, 1913. He had a post-presidency of 17 years. He died on March 8th, 1930 at the age of 72. His cause of death was a heart disease. Number 29, Calvin Coolidge. Calvin Coolidge became the 30th President of the United States and was also a vice president to Warren G. Harding. He was born on July 4th, 1872. He was the first president to be born on the 4th of July, ever since 3 presidents were all died on the 4th of July. He became president at the age of 51. He was in office from August 2nd, 1923 until March 4th, 1929. He had a post-presidency of 4 years, I keep talking about 1 year. 4 years. He died on January 5th, 1933 at the age of 60. His cause of death was a heart attack. Number 30, Franklin D. Roosevelt. Franklin D. Roosevelt became the 32nd President of the United States after Herbert Hoover. He was born on January 30th, 1882. He became president at the age of 51. He was in office from March 4th, 1933 until April 12th, 1945. He also had no post-presidencies as he was the 7th president to die in office. He died on April 12th, 1945 at the age of 63. His cause of death was a cerebral hemorrhage. It's a type of stroke. Number 31, John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy became the 35th President of the United States after Dwight D. Eisenhower. He was born on May 29th, 1917. He became president at the age of 43. He was in office from January 20th, 1961 until November 22nd, 1963. Sadly, he also had no post-presidency, as he was the last president to be assassinated while in office and the last president to die in office. He was assassinated on November 22nd, 1963, at the age of 46. His cause of death was a gunshot wound or assassination. Number 32, Herbert Hoover. Herbert Hoover became the 31st president of the United States after Calvin Coolidge. He was born on August 10th, 1874. He became president at the age of 54. He was in office from March 4th, 1929 until March 4th, 1933. He had a post-presidency of 31. Oh my God. Of 31 years. He died on October 20th, 1964, at the age of 90. His cause of death was upper gastrointestinal bleeding, which is a strained vascular systems. He had a bad he had the same he had upper intestinal bleeding. That means he had massive bleeding inside him. That's bad. Gastrointestinal bleeding. I think it's like the stomach or like the stomach area. I don't know. Number 33, Dwight D. Eisenhower. Dwight D. Eisenhower became the 34th president of the United States after Harry S. Truman. God, guys, my finger is a bit numb. He was born, one second. He was born on October 14th, 1890. He became president at the age of 62. He was in office from January 20th, 1953 until January 20th, 1961. He had a post-presidency of 8 years. He died on March 28th, 1969 at the age of 78. His cause of death was heart failure, and quick disclaimer, he died 100 years after Franklin Pierce. Number 30... What the hell is that? Number 34, Harry S. Truman. Harry S. Truman became the 33rd president of the United States, plus a vice president to Franklin D. Roosevelt. He was born on May 8th, 1884. He became president at the age of 60. He was in office from April 12, 1945 until January 20th, 1953. He had a post-presidency of 19 years. He died on December 26, 1972 at the age of 88. His cause of death was organ failures, cardiovascular system and system collapse, and hypotension and pneumonia. Number 35, Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson became the 36th president of the United States and a vice president to John F. Kennedy. He was born on August 27, 1908. He became president at the age of 55. He was in office from November 22nd, 1963 until January 20th, 1969. He had a post-presidency of 4 years. He died on January 22nd, 1973, at the age of 64. His cause of death was a heart attack. Number 36, Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon became the 37th president of the United States. He was also a vice president to Dwight D. Eisenhower. He was born on January 9th, 1913. He became president at the age of 56. He was in office from January 20th, 1969 until August 9th, 1974. He had a post-presidency of 20 years. He died on April 22nd, 1994 at the age of 81. 1994? Okay, that's true. His cause of death was a paralysis and a swelling of the brain, which is or you could say a stroke, paralysis, and swelling of the brain. Number 37, Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan became the 40th president of the United States after Jimmy Carter. He was born on February 6th, 1911. He became president at the age of 69. He was in office from January 20th, 1981 until January 20th, 1989. He had a post-presidency of 15 years. He died on June 5th, 2004 at the age of 93. His cause of death was Alzheimer's disease, which caused him to have pneumonia. Yep, that's a bad disease. Number 38, Gerald Ford. Gerald Ford became the 38th president of the United States and was a vice president to Richard Nixon. He was born on July 14th, 1913. He became president at the age of 61. He was in office from August 9th, 1974 until January 20th, 1977. He had a post-presidency of 29 years. He died on December 26, 2006, at the age of 93. His cause of death was atherosclerotic cerebral scarlet disease and a diffusion sclerosis. I do not know how to pronounce that. I'm very sorry. Last but not least, number 39, George Bush. George Bush became the last president to die. He became the 41st president of the United States and a vice president to Ronald Reagan. He was born on June 12, 1924. He became president at the age of 64. He was in office from January 20th, 1989 until January 20th, 1993. He had a post-presidency of 25 years. He died on November 30th, 2018 at the age of 94. His cause of death was Parkinson's disease. Now we've gone through all 39 presidents that have died. We have to go through the 6 presidents who are still alive. The first one is Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter became the 39th president of the United States after Gerald Ford. He was born on October 1st, 1924. He currently is still living at the age of 99. Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, and George W. Bush are all living at 78. Barack Obama at the age of 63. And Joe Biden at the age of 81. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you like and subscribe for more history content videos like this. I will be doing some vice presidents as well, not just like presidents, along with some vice presidents as well. So I'll see you guys in my next video.